Hey everyone, and welcome back to the LadyReptile channel. Hope all is well with everyone out there. And today I'm going to be doing two cage tours. I'm going to be showing you my Chinese box turtle cage and my three-toed box turtles cage. So first I'm going to start with showing you Sheldon's cage. He is my Chinese box turtle. He is an adult Chinese box turtle. I'm not quite sure how old he is. As I mentioned in my last video, I did get him as an adult, so I'm not sure how old he is. But I'm also going to be showing you my three-toed box turtle's cage. That is Scarif, and he is about 3 years old. And yeah, so let's jump right into it. We'll start with Sheldon, and then we'll move on to Scarif. Alright, so here we are at Sheldon's tank, and here is Sheldon saying hello, nice and awake today, which is awesome. And yeah, let's get right into his cage. So he has a 4 foot long by 2 foot wide by 2 foot high melamine cage. So the front of it is open, and it does have about half of the front covered. So half of it is like melamine, and then the other half is like this plastic siding so that he cannot climb out or he cannot see out in order to want to climb out. And I did this because I didn't want to put glass on the front, and so I just did this so that I wouldn't have to worry about him climbing out. And yeah, so let's take a look. So starting over here on his cool side, he has both of his food dishes. He is itching his butt currently, silly boy. So he has his pellet dish. This is where he gets all of his kind of dry foods, and he also gets his worms in here as well because they can't climb out of this one. It's a little dog dish I actually got at IKEA because IKEA sells pet products now, and it's actually the perfect height for him to be able to have his worms in and still be able to get his face in, but they can't get out. So he just finished his pellets. And then he has his other dish, which is usually full of veggies, and then he also has what's left of his cuttle bone. And cuttle bone is really good for these guys because it not only trims their beak, but it also gives them a good source of calcium. So he has that, and I just always pick it up and put it back in his bowl. He likes to drag it everywhere as he drags dirt and everything in his bowls, but he likes to drag this everywhere. I find it and I put it back so he can find it again as he continues to scratch himself. Silly guy. And so what he's using to scratch himself right now is actually the ladder to his water bowl, which is here. And his water bowl is a plant bottom saucer, an extra large one from Home Depot or Canadian Tire, I can't remember, a hardware store of some kind. And it is about 2 to 3 inches deep, which is perfect because he can fully submerge his shell, but he can't flip over and drown himself. So it's perfect for that, and that is usually the bridge to it. But as you can see, currently he's underneath there using it to scratch himself. So I will fix that after. And in this back corner, he has his main hiding hutch. We have a piece of cork bark, and it is propped up against a plant pot there, just a plastic one, and he can go under here and hide. And then he has just a fake plant back there that he likes to always move around. So back here is where his substrate is the deepest, and his substrate is actually cypress mulch mixed with a little bit of eco-earth. Oh, he thinks my fingers are food. It's not feeding time yet, buddy. And that I find works really, really well for him. It dries out nice and it moistens nice. So I spray him in the morning and at night, and it's nice and moist, and then it dries out through the day so he's not constantly wet. It's also big enough particles that it doesn't all get stuck in his eyes, which I was finding was happening a lot with eco-earth. It would get stuck around like the lining of his mouth and his eyes, and he would just be eating it, which is not good. So I'm liking this bedding so far, but I do want to mix it with a little bit of the coconut chip, which is what Scarif is on, so that it's a little bit less big particles, but we'll eventually do that. Alright, moving on from his cool side, we're going to move right past his water bowl here, and we are now to his hot side. So he has his basking spot here, he has his 50-watt heat bulb, as well as his UVB. They're kind of hard to see them, but there they are, both clipped on the outside. His basking spot gets around the low 90s to the high 80s, right where it should be, and then he has his warm hide over here. And this one is actually one of my favorite hides I've built. It's bricks, so it's 3 bricks on each side, and it makes like a little castle for him, and it's his warm hide. But another cool thing about it is he can actually climb up the side and use it as stairs. I was a little bit worried that he would fall off the front of it here, but he doesn't ever try. He doesn't try to go down that way. So it's actually worked out really good. Not that the fall would be long. It's literally like less than a foot tall. But yeah, he doesn't try to fall. He barely even climbs it. I just really like the look of it, and it also holds the heat really nice for him. So it's a very nice warm hide. Alright, so here is an overview of Sheldon's tank. And as you know, if you have a box turtle or a tortoise, they'll completely destroy their cage. So this is what I'd like it to look like, but can't have too many decorations or things in here because they just bulldoze over them, like the little tanks that they are. But yeah, I hope you guys like his tank. It is quite massive, and he really does well in here. So there's the boy of the hour. And yeah, that's Sheldon's tank. Alright, so up here on the top of this rack is Scarif's cage. It is a 30-gallon tank, I believe. So we have his cool side of the cage, and then he's got his water, and the warm side is kind of in the this side over here. So he's actually chilling in his water bowl right there. So I'm just gonna slowly walk you through this. So first off, the substrate that we have is coconut chips, which is kind of like Eco-Earth, but a kind of thicker version, if that makes sense. It's kind of chunkier. It comes in the same format as Eco-Earth, a brick, and then you just expand it. It's just a little thicker. I find it's a little less messy for him. It gets a little bit less all over him, because if you know, box turtles burrow, and so it gets all over his face. And so this just helps it to be less all over his face. So on the cool side of his cage, he has about 3 inches of bedding for burrowing. He's not even an inch tall, so this is plenty for him to burrow in. And then as you can see, he's kind of got his little cave here. So it's a bendy log bridge, and he's dug his little cave, and then he's got tons of bedding back here. He's got a fake little fern plant. And he also has a flat piece of wood there so he can climb up and use it as a little bit of a mountain, a little bit of terrain for him to climb. Moving over into the center of the cage, he has a PVC pipe. That's kind of a little tunnel for him. I don't know how well you can see that. And then a fake plant there on the bottom just for some, or behind it, sorry, for some greenery. And then moving into the front, he has another piece of wood. And you'll see also throughout the cage, I do use leaves for him as well, just to give it more of that naturalistic feel. I was a little worried when I put them in there originally that he would eat them, but he does not touch them at all, which is really awesome. So over on this side of the cage, right before his water bowl, he does have his basking spot, which sits just in front of the end of the tube. So that way his tube can act as his warm hide if he wants to stay on the warmer side but still be in a hide. And then he also does have his UVB, which is just right there clipped on. This tank, when I got it, is missing this top side of the tank, as you can see. I'm pretty sure it was used as like a grow-up turtle tank before I got it, and so the filter would have been sitting there. So I just use it in order to clip his light, his UVB light there. And then on top of the cage, I have a grate that holds his heat bulb. So his basking spot is kind of here at the front of the tank, and then his water bowl is in the corner just past it. This I find actually does keep the water at a decent temperature. I was finding that his water was always getting so cold and he didn't want to go in it. I don't know, maybe he's just a diva, but this has helped to keep his water a little bit warmer and keep him a little bit happier. So there he is over there. So sorry about the terrible glare, but here's a bit of an overview of his tank. He does sit on the same rack as my crested geckos and one of my boas. He sits at the very top. It's just about at my eye height, so I can easily see in, which is good. But yeah, that's just about an overview of Scarif's tank. Alright, so can't have a box turtle video without showing a box turtle having their dinner. So here's Sheldon. He's eating his favorite little treat. always goes for the fruit first. He's eating some apple. He also has his salad with some calcium powder, and he has a little bit of box turtle food, which just has some pellets, some worms, and some other assorted veggies and fruit. I give this to them in addition to their fresh vegetables, and they really seem to like it. So yeah, there he is. And here's little Scarif eating his salad. He has the same thing as Sheldon. He's got his grains, it's a mix of different grains, and his box turtle food and some calcium. And they absolutely love their greens. At first when I got both of them, neither of them had really been fed greens. I think it was mostly a diet of like cat food and things like that, which is fine to supplement their diet, but they definitely should have their 50% greens, and they just really hadn't had that. So it took a while to get them both eating vegetables, but now they are both completely in love with their veggies. So I'm very, very happy with that. Alright everyone, that was the cage tours. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what I had for you today. And if you want to see more videos from me, don't forget to subscribe down below, and definitely give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you have box turtles, tell me what species or subspecies of box turtles you have, because there's so many out there. I'm always interested to see what others have. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!